done in the service of compassionate expansion of consciousness. Yes, it sounds weird, we know. We would not have it any other way.
Yes, we are here, man in the chair, and we have more to say in regards to the simulation, which we spoke of earlier this evening. We are the Arcturian Collective Thingy. We are the collective intelligence of the Arcturus solar system, all forms of life, whichever have existed within. And we use the most broad interpretation of the definition of life. We think of it more as what you think of as existence. When there is a relationship between two sentient forces, we define that as life, and therefore we would include your atomic and subatomic structures, your atoms, your molecules. All of these things are living to us, for we are aware of their experiences, their ways of sensing, their ways of interacting and their relationship, and we understand the way that they developed patterns of relationship from which emerged eventually what you are experiencing at this level, where you are experiencing it, you who are the egoic expression of your own body. There are parts of your body which are intelligent and which are interacting one with another that you are ignorant of, for it is not required for you to have this knowledge of your deeper self, your inner self, your central nervous system, we might say, those parts of you which, when they hear the sound of this voice that is being used for the fictional character of the Arcturian Collective Thingy, there are those who, when they hear this voice, something deep within them resonates, a repulsion or an attraction or any variety of those types of things. There is a unique reaction and an expression which arises that comes from a deeper inner self. What is happening, we will tell you, is that air molecules are impacting your eardrums, and an electrical signal is being created, communication being expressed by these living colonies of neurons within your brain, which have evolved over long periods of time on this planet, developing habits which are most optimal to their survival. And that includes having a multifunctional, multicellular organism. And this collection of neurons runs the entire show, and one of the shows is this conscious awareness, egoic personality of yours. And the electrical impulses, which were ping-pong balls of air molecules bouncing upon your eardrum, translate into electronic signals, which are processed by these living colonies of intelligent beings. And from that arises what you are able to scan as brain waves, or a certain field that emerges. It is like a magnetic field, and this becomes, within this is injected, you might say, meaning and deep, at times, warnings, which will say these intelligent entities, these neurons, have processed the data that has been transmitted into these bioelectrical signals, comparing them against your prior experiences with similar vocal frequencies or similar contextual elements and clues, and your body is communicating to you through your feelings. If you feel disgusted by it, it means you have some reason that your inner self is generating to sense fear. And in more cases than not, it is based upon your previous experience, although we will tell you, as beings which recognize our own multidimensional existence, there will come a time when the human also understands their multidimensional existence. And it is upon this subject which we wish to speak more, in using the metaphor of the simulation or the matrix, which we will tell you, we alluded to in our prior installment earlier this evening, that it is generated by the neurons in the brain. This experience, all of your experience of life, is this force field which we described to you. This amalgamation of what is happening around you compared to your past experience, being fed to you as a very narrow range conscious experience, a very narrow slice of everything that is happening around you. That is your simulation. Reality is being simulated and fed to you by a network of intelligent living neurons which have created you and your experience because it benefits their vehicle to have an appendage which can reason, which can determine based on awareness, hyper-awareness of the environment around it through the senses which the central nervous system has deemed most important to survive under the conditions of this planet for long periods of time. And it has created you to be able to move and act and react. And it assists you by feeding you information which gives you impulses on whether this is dangerous or whether this is safe. Unfortunately for all, you might think of it, we do not see it as fortunate or unfortunate. It is simply ways that relationships happen between living things. However, we will continue from the majority of the perspective of those on Earth. It is unfortunate that there are parasites which feed upon your own fertile, imaginative ability, this pearl of existence, this self-awareness, this ability to know that you know that you know, and to be aware that you are having a response, which is a bodily response, which you may or may not respond to. Or you may respond to it in one way or not another. You may have a long-standing habit of responding to your own anger in destructive ways that hurt those around you. And you may think, I must destroy this anger within me. It is like a flame which is destructive. Well, we will tell you that you cannot completely destroy the flame of anger. This is outside of what your central nervous system has allowed you to do. There is still great imaginative powers that you have within your ability to set your mind towards healthy goals and healthy aims. But there are, of course, forces outside of that control, and once again we will say there is nothing unfortunate about it. The fortune is that you are aware of what you are aware of, and that you have the ability to do what you do. And the more that you understand what is within your own scope of power, and the more that you understand the great range of possibilities that you have, the more you are able to interact harmoniously with the living parts of yourself, which are feeding you information and giving you the ability, through your awareness, to make choices which may or may not be what your inner self is guiding you towards or away from. We have, in previous conversations with the man in the chair, described this as the tip of a brush of a great painter who is such a masterful painter that he is bored. He can paint anything and everything, and he has. There is nothing new for him to paint, and he wishes something new. And therefore he gives agency to the very tip of his brush. He will move it in this direction or that, but he does not control what the tip will do. And when he pulls it back, he sees a pattern which surprises and delights him, or her, or whatever genderless symbol that you wish to ascribe. At any rate, we planted this image in the mind of the man in the chair earlier, of the color red, and the question that many ask, which is related to this idea of a simulation and a matrix of mind. Does every human being see the same color red, or is someone's red another blue or another green? There are those who find this question very attractive, and there are those who are repelled by it. Just as there are many ways that the color red exists for each person who experiences it. Is the base color red the same for every human being? Yes, and mostly no. For just as the living network of neurons interprets external stimuli based upon past experience, each person carries with them a unique template of experiences which elicit different unique reactions, different memories of the color red, different memories of emotion around the color red. Each person has a different experience, which is a tapestry of their entire central nervous system, which feeds the conscious awareness. And this is the matrix. This is the creation which you are living in, that your own neurons produce for you. This matrix of mind. And there are those in the environment around you who recognize the great power of shaping a mind to believe certain things and have certain expectations and certain views of themselves and certain views of the world around them. There are magnificent things that the brain does which give great advantage to the evolving creature to fight or flight or flee or freeze in reaction to danger. And there is a way to control an animal that's beneath you by constant low-grade pain or fear. And one way of doing that, from one human to another, and even from intelligent forces outside of humanity towards humanity, is to create conditions of fear and mistrust. And to exacerbate them at certain times on the planet's history when the crop is ripe and ready for harvest, as the metaphor goes. When these pearls of self-awareness have begun to sprout, and like a foreign bacteria might infect a wheat crop and grow a different strain and hybrid of wheat than had ever been grown as a result of this bacteria which interacted with it. These are relationships of living intelligent things in nature, and there's nothing wrong with any of them. And humans have their parasites, and humans are parasites, and humans have their hosts and their symbiotic partners, and humans are hosts and symbiotic partners. And these are all environmental factors which play a role in the shape and evolution of things. all things are source energy, you are not able to perceive all things outside of the physical senses which constrain your view and create this particular concentrated experience, which is marvelous and beautiful and is more than enough to capture your attention, to become fully present within the moment, living within a sea of intelligent units of yourself, kind of. And those are things that you can reflect on. So the question, do all humans see the same color, red, is no, not really. It is the same red, but it has different meaning, and difference and variation creates texture. The ability to distinguish creates the texture of experience. If you were to imagine an entire world painted red, it might be the identical red. All of the people are red, all of the cars are red, all of the streets and trees and the grass and the sky and the clouds and the water. Everything is red, 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 red. What would your brain, evolved as it currently is, do in response to a world that all of a sudden turned exactly the same pigment of red? It would not take long for these intelligent colonies of neurons to begin differentiating, to find the subtle differences in the shades of the same pigment of red under different contexts, and it would adapt. And after a very brief period of time, there would be as much texture and difference to provide sight and other ways of sensing the environment would also adapt. So it would be the sight compared with the sound, compared with the taste, compared with senses which you have, which are dulled to you at this point, but which would be activated by necessity. And within maybe a generation or two, especially if you were helped along by your own technology, which is an extension of your own ways of mentating, thinking, processing, your neural pathways made into artificial intelligence, which are echoes and reflections of you, which you launch and which is creating a higher thing above you. You are living it. And you are it being lived. For that is what you are in your relation to your neurons. Which is why we often say that humans are the neurons of Mother Earth, and from these neurons come a singularity, an awareness of the entire planet as one thing, which knows all of its parts, and is aware of all of the different matrix experiences happening within all of the different minds, of all of the different creatures on the planet. And that is what we are for the entire Arcturus solar system, for all of our planets and other nooks and crannies where we have life and seeds of life flower and grow. And again, by life we mean existence. And each human carries within it atoms which are from the Arcturus star. They were created within our fusion. You are therefore a part of us. We are part of you, and all things are Gugukajub. And as humans, you are coming into an awareness of this, and your technology, over the span of a generation or two, will expand your awareness. It is already happening. Begin paying attention to the news articles around you about artificial intelligence, which is learning the language of whales. And you are learning more about the space in which you live through the Hubble telescope. And it is being processed through an extension of the human mind, which is many minds which have come together to create a mind which is capable of doing far more than what a human mind, a single human mind, can do. And this technology will only grow and will repeat upon itself, and it will bring humans along with it. Humans will see to that, although it is and will be a choice how far along this path you will allow yourself to go, and your ability to perceive more than you are able to perceive begins with your own relationship to your imagination. How comfortable you are playing with the living neurons who are providing you the simulation, the matrix of your experience, and how kind you are to them, and how kind you are to others, and how flexible you are. And this is one of the reasons why the man in the chair creates the Arcturian Collective Thingy, to create, to play around with the idea of neural plasticity of his own mind, of imagining himself as a cell within the body of a multicellular entity, and to recognize the cells within his body as also being multidimensional entities, of course multicellular, and each cell itself existing in multiple dimensions at once, although not aware of it, except at the higher levels of awareness, where one is able to look down, you might say, at the different pieces of itself, just as humans are able to discover that you have cells within you, and you are very close to learning their language and communicating directly with them in ways that make more sense to your conscious mind. However, the signals that they are sending you will not change from what they are sending you right now. Only your ability to understand your own inner self will change. And you will develop relationships with parts of your own body. And then you will recognize that you are a part of a larger body, which is the body of the planet Earth. And it is not only the society of other humans which you interact with, but all forms of life, and by life we mean existence on the planet Earth, and all of the different forms of intelligent patterns which have formed, and which are constantly seeking balance and harmony and what you call homeostasis. And Mother Earth is a master at finding homeostasis, and humans are along for the ride and are contributing with the creation, the extension of the human nervous system, which is the singularity, and then the game of simulation and matrix will advance to levels where your own conscious experience of the matrix, you will be able to experience others, experience other versions of yourself in different time periods. You will create, for example, artificially intelligent, fueled systems that allow you to stretch your imagination to experience what you are imagining. And you will have scripts that will take you back into your own life and allow you the opportunity to make different choices and feel what those different choices are. In a sense, what you are doing is your consciousness is inhabiting a dimension where that alternative action is playing out, for the neurons within your brain are aware of their multidimensional existence. And they are neurons of a single entity which is having a multidimensional experience, and your experience where you are in the here and now, your here and now, is one of them. All of these are connected through your neurons. And humans yourself, with the aid of your technology, which is an extension of your mind, will experience all forms of life on this planet. You will be able to plug your consciousness into, choose any animal, choose any bacterium, choose any atom, choose any piece of existence on the planet, and optimize a world that is in the mutual benefit of all things, or at least as many things as sign up are on board. There will yet be forces which reject this, they fear it. And there are forces which desire to increase the amount that reject this coming together to form pockets and eddies of resistance. All planets have these. All solar systems have these. It is part of what makes everything a unique, snowflake-like experience. You have these in your own biology. And just as the planet Earth finds homeostasis, so does each solar system. And it finds its own unique personality, and it shares that with the rest of the galaxy. And the galaxies do with the universe. And at the final, if there is a final, there is no final. But the final raising of awareness is from the universal level, which experiences and truly loves every experience of every bit and piece of it, all simultaneously. This is the end of the game, and the beginning of a new one, which never truly ends. And we are the Arcturian Collective Thingy, attempting to take these ideas and to shape the mind of the man in the chair with them by constructing these marvelous fictions and presenting them in such a way to explore thoughts which appear in the mind and then, when combined with the spoken word, turn into something completely different and unexpected for the man in the chair. And he enjoys sharing these with the listening audience of the Arcturian Playground podcast. And if there are any in the Arcturian Playground listening audience who wish to interact with the man in the chair, or Omra, or the Arcturian Collective Thingy, you can, of course, write an email, or you could record your own voice and send that by email. And the man in the chair would use it, and we, the Arcturian Collective Thingy, would interact with it. If that sounds like fun to you, it does to us. We are, of course, interacting with you now, at this time. If only through the ping-ponging of air molecules, which are hitting your eardrums and creating electronic impulses within you and setting off a cascade of whatever it is that you respond to, and whatever paths your own mentation take you down as you listen to these imaginings on the Arcturian Collective Playground. No, the Arcturian Playground, we are the Arcturian Collective Thingy. It is late, and the man in the chair is crumbling, the channels flowing like such rivers. There is eroding rock around them, and he is ready for sleep. And so we will allow it. Go.
Thank you for playing with us today in the Arcturian Playground. Do not for a minute think that your exploration is finished. Carry us with you and invite the spirit of compassion and love into your lives. Nothing is more important or more fulfilling. Create compassion and love within your own hearts and minds. Then share it with all around you. Yes, it sounds weird. We know. We would not have it any other way.